Hi Merry Beaders, this is Carol Cypher again, looking forward to sharing a new project with you today. It's inspired by those peanut beads that just rock my world, and I call it Shoko's Bracelet, Sparkling Shoko, named after my translator when I worked at the Tokyo Dome at the quilt show. Maybe 3 or 4 years ago. She was my translator and we hit it off, and I taught her some beading projects that she then shared with the rest of the staff at the factory at Tulip, as well as I think some of the office personnel. I'll try to post on Facebook soon some of the photographs of their finished bracelets. In the meantime, let me talk about peanut beads. They just absolutely thrill me. They add so much complexity to a piece, even in simple cross needle weave like this necklace. And I just embellished every few stitches with a 3mm Swarovski crystal, and it's just stunning. So if you take these peanut beads, which have such a fabulous shape, and use them in this more complex cross needle weave project, you get a very wonderful, versatile bracelet. So let's take a look at a few of the examples. This example is the one that we're going to do today. It's got a 4mm bicone crystal, peanut beads, and I use silver in a lot of these, although some colors are also fabulous. But if you're going for a jewelry store appearance in the piece, then the gold or silver are lovely. So it's the peanut bead and a size 11. And at the edge of a bicone crystal, if I'm using a bicone crystal in beadwork, especially in right angle weave, I put either a size 15 or an 11 at either end of the bicone, so that when the thread exits the bicone, it goes straight through the seed bead and then makes the right angle turn into the peanuts. This way you avoid slicing the thread. Now, several of these projects have regular magnets as closures, and I've used those almost exclusively over the years. I love magnetic closures. And of course, I would always add a safety chain to that. But you'll notice this piece doesn't have a safety chain. This is a fabulous magnet that's sold by Bead Cats. That's Carol Cypher and Virginia Blakelock, the queen mothers of this generation of bead weavers. They have a online mail order business out in Oregon. And if you go on their website, beadcats.com, you too can obtain these wonderful magnets. Now, I can pull all day long on the bracelet in the opposite directions, and it will not come open. But if I want to take it off, I just put my finger underneath the magnet and push upward, and it causes the magnet to come apart. So let's look at the way this works. There's this side that has the little rare earth magnet, and there's this side that has like a little cup. And so when you put the magnet in it, the stem on the magnet end fits in the notch of the little cup end. And you have a beautiful closure that's very secure. So I use those frequently now. So that's one of those. Here's the same bracelet we're going to do today, but instead of using silver size 11s, I'm using colors. But the peanuts are silver. Here's the same bracelet executed in a slightly different bicone color. Here it is in gold and also a dark green, sort of forest green peanut bead. So it's gold and peanut. And then the rondels in here are also the 2x4. No? Let's see, the rondels are, the peanut beads are 2x4s, and the rondels are 3x6s or 3x5s. So we're going to use these rondels with size 15 seed bead at the either end, and then a peanut bead in gold. Here's the same bracelet again with red rondels. Here we used one of those gorgeous clasp garden clasps. It's not a magnet. It has a Swarovski crystal in the center. It's enameled. They're from Germany. And this has 3 loops on each end. So I've made 3 strands of this project with Swarovski crystals, and then use this wonderful clasp garden clasp. Here's a larger size rondel, and so you can change up the size of the bead to just about anything you choose. You just need to elongate then the sides. And these are with, I think they're Cindy Craig lampworked beads. I was collecting these years ago in all different colors. I call them like my M&M beads, and I just simply love them. Occasionally you'll find a very talented lampworker who's still willing to turn out these spacer beads, I think is what they call them. But they're just gorgeous, and they're perfect little like M&Ms to fit in the bracelet. And this piece I call Regal Rondels, and I'm going to upload this recipe as well as the Shoko sparkling bracelet recipe on the website. So if you go to either tulipbeadingneedles.com and go to the blog page, you can download the recipe, or from carolcypher.com you can get a link over to the recipe. So this Regal Rondels bracelet starts by making 2 strips of beadwork, this outside strip and this outside strip, and then the next part of the recipe is to fill in this middle strip. So it's a very easy piece to accomplish. So it's 2 identical strips, and then we zip them together with this middle section. And this uses a magnetic closure that has 2 loops, and it's the tube type. So you just fit the tubes together, and the magnet kind of tucks them in together closely. Okay, so let's get the beads out and start our project. So I have a pair of tulip beading needles and fireline thread, and this is the 10-pound weight. I usually use 10-pound unless I need something that's more supple. So I'm going to start by picking up my magnetic closure. So let's get that magnet out. So I'm going to put both needles through one side of the magnet and pull it till there's some thread that remains, and then I'm going to go up into the loop and pull it so there's like a hitch knot, a lark's head knot on the closure. Oftentimes, especially if I think I'm not going to just keep this for my own use, but if I want to sell the piece, then I want to make sure this is going to last into perpetuity. So oftentimes I choose to attach the magnet as an afterthought. So I would start with just the beadwork, and with this new separate thread I would attach the magnetic closure. So either way, I would tell you to pin down either that first bead or the magnetic closure onto your bead mat by going into a little bit of the bead mat, and then the hole in the bead or the magnetic closure, and a little bit more of the bead mat. And this secures your beadwork to the table, so it makes you a more efficient beader. Okay, in the recipe it would tell you to center a peanut on the thread, so that would be if you were going to add the magnetic closure afterwards on a separate thread. So now we're going to do the next step, which is to pick up a seed bead and a peanut on each thread. Okay, on each needle is what I mean to say. And then you're going to string a seed bead and your focal bead and a seed bead on one needle, and just let them slide onto the thread and cross through them in the opposite direction with the other needle. And then you're going to pull your needles apart in opposite directions, and it pulls the beadwork right down to the magnet. And so this time we're going to pick up a peanut and a seed bead on each needle, and a peanut and seed bead on this needle, and we're going to cross them in a peanut. Sometimes I can do it on the needle, sometimes I need to move it down, so there. So we're crossing the needles in a peanut. Sure we are. There we go. And pull the threads away in opposite directions. So there we have one of our rondels, and it's surrounded by or framed by our seed beads and peanut beads. So now we're just going to do one unit of peanut beads. So we pick up one peanut on each needle, and then pick up one peanut on one needle and cross through it with the other needle. So the needles are crossed. So now we're going to repeat that original design again. So we're going to pick up a seed bead and a peanut on each needle, seed bead and peanut, seed bead and peanut. And now we're going to pick up a seed bead, a rondelle, and a seed bead on one needle and cross through the beads with the other needle. So the needles are coming in opposite directions. And then I'm going to pull that down close to the work. So now I'm going to pick up a peanut and a seed bead on each needle and cross them in a peanut. So I'll pick up another peanut and I'll cross through it with my other needle. So again, they're crossing, so they're going in opposite directions. And then I pull the work down close. So you're just going to repeat those same 2 stitches over and over until it's about the length that you want. And I think mine are usually 13 to 16, depending on the size. I think that's all you need to know, except when you get to the last rondelle, you're going to pick up the other side of your magnet and then weave your threads in securely. But that will all be in your recipe. I think that you're probably confident enough to manage with the information that's here. So happy beading, my friends. Happy New Year, and I'll see you here again soon. Thank you. Bye.